Good day. My name is Patricia Sigley, and I am presenting for the Master of Arts of Life Coaching, Consulting, and Mentoring degree program. I want to send my appreciation to Dr. R.L. Weiser and his team for the opportunity to partake of the program. The education presented in this course is life-changing, not only to the clients that we see, but also to ourselves, something I've found out personally. In this presentation, I plan on to touch 10 subjects covered in the courses. First, I plan to cover a grasp of evaluation, of the life map, and of obstacles. Next, discuss the concept of VAC learning styles. I will follow with the process of building rapport and the importance of trust. And then I plan to speak on the formation of beliefs and the impact of beliefs, that the way they have, the impact they have on our thinking and our choice making. And after beliefs, I will visit the roles of a mentor, a life coach, and a counselor. And lastly, I would like to speak on where the Life Catalyst curriculum fits in to bring changes to the client's life. The people in our society so desperately need lifestyle changes, but few know how to obtain them. When in distress, many look to drugs or alcohol, among other things, only to find themselves with more complex problems. Our society is dissatisfied and depressed and overly medicated, with little hope for relief in sight. Outcomes, positive outcomes, seem unreachable. Negative outcomes are everywhere. Guiding a client through the process of change and improving their lives to reach a determined outcome is the goal of this program. An outcome is a desired state that has yet to be obtained. We want it, but we don't have it. Determining an outcome by answering the question, "What do you want?" can prove difficult for many people. Some of us simply don't know what we want. The client must have the desire to search deep inside of themselves to clear emotional clutter, to discover who they are. This often takes time and the guidance in which the life coach can be proven so helpful, and while they teach and mentor this client. The life coach, through thorough evaluations, can guide a client to set goals and objectives that can be obtainable with realistic conditions. Now, speaking of evaluations, upon meeting a client, the life coach begins his evaluation. Noting body language, voice tone, eye contact is as important as a client is or is not saying. I'd like to kind of parallel this to medicine. Being a nurse, we see things and we practice this. The evaluation that a nurse begins is when she first lays eyes on you. If you go to the doctor's office, usually a nurse will call your name from the door. First of all, she notices, are you paying attention? Did you hear? Did you hear your name? Secondly, she will watch as you get out of your chair. She will watch your gait as you walk toward her. Usually touch your arm or shake your hand as you go through the door. And this is all part of an evaluation that starts from the moment she lays eyes on you. And it's the same way with life coaching. When we start talking with a client, we notice their body language, their voice tone, the way they look at you, their eye contact, and also noticing not only what they say, but what they don't say. It's so very important. The importance of being a good listener is the pillar of life coaching. You must develop listening skills for your ears, for your eyes, for your mind, and for your heart. Assessing the client's view of success, past successes, and methods of obtaining success is a good place to start with the evaluation. Robert Collier states, "Success is the sum of small efforts, repeated day in and day out." Discovering what works for your patient can lay the groundwork for successful outcomes. Another important assessment involves desire. The client must have a desire to make life changes in their life. This is mandatory. It is a mandatory condition to have this desire. Without it, you will not succeed. Change is very hard, and it's usually uncomfortable. And there's no exceptions to this. The client must have the desire to face these obstacles and to meet their goals. Success is possible only with careful planning and understanding our place and purpose in this journey we call life. Everyone has the potential to be successful. Some just need direction, and that direction is often found in your life coaching, and especially when they ask the right questions. First, the coach must ask, what do you really want? What do you really, really want? What do you want? Then we must determine what is holding that patient back, or the client back, from achieving what they want. What's stopping you? Why don't you have what you want? What motivates you to make this change? What skills do you need to learn to make changes in your life? Now, this could be a tricky situation there, because a lot of times we simply don't know what we don't know. And this is where the evaluation and the education and the knowledge that the life coach has, where they can step in and evaluate and open these areas just for an initial peek for that person to see that area of their life that may need change. They may not even know that's the problem, but we try to help them find their problems. Let's put it that way. We have tools in this program like the life map for goal planning, and we have the wheel of life and the balance of life, and this kind of puts us where the starting point would be for that client. Within the curriculum are additional activities which include strategies for planning and goal setting and how to write it down and creating your vision. And these help the coach and the client through these first steps towards success. Time management and goal setting are life skills that are taught during the course if they need them. We need to mention that the evaluation may take some time, and the more than one session with the client. It is imperative that enough time is spent on the evaluation to discover obstacles and lay a firm foundation from which will produce positive outcomes for our clients. And about obstacles. For the client to achieve their goals in life, the obstacles blocking the goal must be identified and addressed. An appropriate visual aid for this is the life map activity. With the goals and obstacles on paper in front of them, very simply, 3 blank lines. Very simply. The client can begin to learn the life skills to achieve their goals. Once they see the obstacles, they can learn to overcome those obstacles, and that's where life coaching steps in. The client will need to apply this knowledge in everyday situations to break the habits that are detrimental to them reaching their goals. A life coach can't do it for them, but they must develop these habits and these changes and work through them in everyday life. There are many obstacles that a life coach will encounter. Some of the common ones including the client not having a clear vision of their outcome. Age, finances, time limitation, addictions are frequently seen. We also see negativity, low self-esteem, stress, grief, and our own beliefs. Life Catalyst curriculum addresses these obstacles with life skill education. To educate effectively, the life coach needs to assess the learning preferences of the client. Now, I would like to talk about those preferences. We use the term learning preferences in medicine, use the term representational systems. I've seen that in some of the readings here. And these systems are talking about our senses. Our senses make up a representational system that unveils the learning style and how we see the world. Our primary senses are VAC, visual, which of course is seeing, auditory, hearing, kinesthetic, which is feeling. We may also encounter the O and G, olfactory, which is smelling, G, which is gustatory, which is your taste. The visual system is the creation of our internal pictures, our daydreams, our fantasies. The client with the visual primary sense may display clues through their body language such as defocused eye movements, up and to the right or to the left, rapid speech, high, shallow breathing, and tension in the body. They look uptight. They just look uptight. The auditory system, they usually listen internally. And this includes imagining ourselves talking to others or listening to music. Eye movements are usually midline. The voice tone is rhythmic. It's medium-paced and rhythmic. Foot tapping or rhythmic body movements are seen along with mid-level respirations. The kinesthetic system is our internal and external feelings of touch. Emotions are often thought of as part of the kinesthetic system, and this is our internal touch. Physical aspects such as balance and positioning is all in with this. But along with this is also, we can group in the olfactory and the gustatory, the smelling and the taste. Physical clues to this kinesthetic sense preference are eye movement midline and to the right, low, deep, soft, and slow speech with frequent pauses and deep abdominal breathing. They look very, very relaxed. Creativity results when we use more than one representational system, like we're looking at things from different angles. Developing our weaker systems may increase our creativity and our awareness, just as developing our senses. The representational system can be developed with mental exercises, and there's some of those included in the courses. To increase our self-knowledge and scope of thought, we should know our own representational preference and strengthen our weaker systems. One way to recognize your preferred system is to know what system you use when you're under stress or make a decision. Our systems may be translational or overlapping. Often clues are given in the terms of a person when speaking. Do they see, feel, or hear something? This is important in life coaching because we need to speak the same language as our clients. For example, a visual learner may say, they may see what you mean. An auditory may hear what you're saying, and a kinesthetic may understand how you feel. As life coaches, we need to be aware of our own lead representational systems and adjust them to accommodate our client's style. Adjusting our preferences will enhance communications and will help with the process of building rapport. Now, building rapport is a vital key to any mentoring or life coaching endeavor. Actually, is a vital key to many things in life. Rapport is simply a relationship with mutual liking and trust. Rapport opens communication and creates good feelings. One step toward building rapport is finding a good common ground. Another way to build rapport is to make a good first impression. Being empathetic is another way to build rapport. Most importantly, you must be genuine without a hidden agenda. So very important. You must be genuine without a hidden agenda, because rapport is not manipulation. Rapport is built in a relationship, step upon step, brick upon brick. And it's over a period of time, and it's very similar to what we call trust. Now, mutual trust is one of the most satisfying relationships known to man. Trust is built by degrees and is a risk for the client or the coach to take. We need trust to interact with society. We have our checks deposited into the bank. We trust the money's going to be there. And we trust our doctor when he gives us a diagnosis. Trust is everything. I trust my husband. I trust my children. And then my coworkers, if we're working on a project, I have to trust that they'll do their percentage while I do my percentage. And relationships are just built on trust. It's just a foundation, but it's very hard to build trust. Usually you don't trust someone when you first meet them. You kind of feel them out. Anyway, trust is essential in building rapport in the coach-client relationship, and you must have rapport to have change. So the bottom line is we need change. We need change to overcome obstacles. We need to overcome obstacles to reach our goal. But before we achieve change, we must achieve rapport, which is the forerunner to trust. It's all building a foundation. If trust is compromised, and I think most of us have been in that position before. I have been on both sides. I actually have compromised trust, and I have I have had people be distrustworthy with me. So I know both sides of this story. But if it is compromised, it's extremely difficult to rebuild. There must be willingness from each party to reconcile feelings of abandonment and alienation, and these are really common. Interventions and motives need to be honestly communicated. A genuine apology must be offered. And we have to take responsibility for our actions, or the person who broke our trust. They have to take responsibility for their actions too. Providing repentance or resolution if that's appropriate, and just remember that rebuilding trust takes time. It takes time and a great deal of risk. Be respectful. You can't play the blame game. You can't lie. When trying to rebuild trust, you can't make over-the-top promises such as, I'm never going to disappoint you again. You can't promise that. Your words have to match your actions. True trust creates authority, especially in business relationships. Trust creates, builds, and sustains organizations and their results. Our society, organizations, businesses, churches, and families must have trust to exist. Now, speaking of beliefs, the beliefs are formed rules that we live by. They're self-fulfilling prophecies, and the way we think all the time is what we really believe, and we'll bank on it. Beliefs determine how we respond to situations, develop our attitudes, and shape our social world. Beliefs are truth. They're truth to us, even though they may not be truth at all. But they are our beliefs, so they are our truths. Beliefs determine how we respond to situations. Beliefs may free you, or they may limit you. Beliefs are the frameworks of our actions. Beliefs can imprison us, often without us even knowing it. Our beliefs begin forming from birth. First, being influenced by our parents and our siblings, and in school by our peers and our teachers. The programming of our beliefs continue as our place in society changes. Basically, programming follows as our beliefs are created through programming. Attitudes are created by beliefs. Attitudes create feelings. Feelings determine our actions. And actions create results. So it's kind of a rolling stone here. If we will follow this format, we will be successful in achieving our goals by changing our programming. To have successful outcomes, we must believe that it is possible to achieve them, we are able to achieve them, and we deserve to achieve them. An example of a misdirected belief is found in Genesis involving Jacob and his sons. Jacob had a favorite son. His name was Joseph. Jacob made him a very special, colorful coat, and he was obviously the favorite of the kids. Joseph had dreams. He was anointed. He had dreams and would often tell these dreams to his brothers, which there were 11 brothers, but to his brother and his father, his mother. And, they were usually dreams showing him being superior to the others. His brothers hated him, which, in a family situation like this, that probably would be pretty easy to do. So on this one occasion, Joseph went to his brothers out in the field. The brothers stripped him of his coat and sold him to some Ishmaelites. The brothers dipped his coat in animal blood and took it to Jacob, his father. And they said, they didn't lie. They didn't say, this is your son's coat. But they said, is this your son's coat? And Jacob took one look at the coat and said, surely my son has been devoured by a beast. Jacob mourned Joseph for decades. He believed the bloody coat for decades, but it was never true. Beliefs are powerful and they direct our lives. Changing them is very difficult, but our beliefs may not be based on the truth, just as Jacob's was not true, but he truly believed it and he acted upon it. A mentor can help us see beyond our present circumstances. And I wonder really how many times that someone has put a bloody coat at our feet and we have made assumptions and beliefs based upon what we thought that represented, and how many times that has limited our own life. That has caused me a great deal of thought lately. Mentoring. A mentor is a trusted advisor and guide who is concerned with our interest and committed to our personal development. A mentor is someone who seems to have what we personally need and has already developed the characteristics in their own life. A mentor should possess and practice effective life skills. Now, let's say I have problems with weight loss. Let's say that one. I probably would not seek out a mentor who was extremely overweight. I might seek out a mentor who was overweight and had lost their weight and continued to lose it and had lifestyle changes. But usually we want to see what we need to change in the mentor that we're willing to make investments in our lives and to take a chance on us. There are no guarantees for outcome with mentoring, so a mentor and a client must take risks to trust each other, to have faith in each other, to take time for the program, and to take a risk with this relationship. There are no guarantees. A mentor is a person of integrity and respect. Others may consider the mentor wise and hold him in high esteem. Others may seek a consult from a mentor for guidance. A mentor should be a teacher at heart, possessing communication skills to effectively advise and teach. Mentors have a network of resources that they can make available to the client. You surely can't sit and teach somebody something. You need to teach them how to find answers for themselves. Many things, especially in my chosen field of nursing. Medicine changes continuously. So when we teach new nurses, we teach them how to keep up on their education. And we give them ways of doing it, whether it be websites or different types of programs that they can take, or books to buy, or whatever, that will keep them updated. Constantly at our hospital, we are having, well, actually 2 times a week usually, we have continuing education type seminars or teaching of some sort, or a doctor will come in and tell us what to do if we have a head trauma or whatever. And these things help us to teach ourselves. So not only are we teaching a life skill, we're teaching people to help themselves, that they can do it without us. Someone once said that parenting was a job that you work yourself out of. And I think maybe this might be the same type of thought here behind this, is that this is going to be something that we are teaching them to prepare themselves, and they can continue in it without our help. That's an exciting part in a person's life, I think. That's an exciting part to be to take part in, to help someone do this. Mentors walk the talk, so to say, and they are consistent in their lifestyles, and they strive to live a good example. A mentor is concerned with the client's interest and finds fulfillment and joy when the client succeeds in the program. Yeah, it does something good for the mentor too. We can't say it's all for the client, because the mentor is enriched with everyone that they work with. They learn themselves. Even though mentors are human and not perfect, the mentor needs to grasp the responsibility in dealing with the client's lives and dreams. That's big. That's really big. You don't want to play with that if you're not dedicated to it. You have to have the heart to help the people, or you'll cause bad damage. Just bad damage if you don't succeed, if you give up, if you're inconsistent. You have to be consistent and want to do what you're doing. The mentor should promote growth in the clients and be an example for the clients to follow. They provide resources for the client to continue to succeed after the sessions end. I guess I jumped ahead of that a little bit. Since we have a grasp of what a mentor is and what they do, we have a better understanding of the role of the life coach. Because simply, a life coach is a professional mentor. Life coaches are educated in communication and life skills, problem solving, goal setting, and much more. They are trained to help the client transform and achieve goals by giving them a plan and equipping the client with the skills to follow it. Life coaching is centered around achieving results. That involves guiding the client to determine what is important in their lives and to reveal the obstacles and whatever the client encounters. This is accomplished by evaluations and exercises that aid the client to seeing themselves. Life coaching focuses on the present and the future. It is about moving forward, not rehashing the past. Life coaching encompasses the whole life and not just one area. The ultimate outcome is to bring the balance and harmony in the life of the client. Now, the difference between life coaching and counseling, they're first of all very closely related. Counseling and therapy have defining differences, though. Therapy involves a variety of issues, many of which involve the patient's past. Therapists they try to find the root cause and work from there up. And that sometimes can be difficult because many times that is hidden. And it is true that there are times that people need to do that. And when we would meet someone with that, and we think that there's something much deeper that needs to be explored, it is probably a good idea to recommend that they seek additional therapy. Also, if someone looks as though they are clinically depressed or anything of that sort, we need to realize that there are people out there that are professionals that may use medications and other things that can help the client. We have to kind of know our limits too as life coaches. but we do have a lot of room to work from the right now and moving forward. Life coaching focuses on the present and the future. Counseling often gives the clients the answers. They say, oh, this is your problem, and this is what you have to do. Life coaching more says, well, it looks as though that you have unveiled this problem. What do you think would be the next steps? Where do you think we should go with this? And perhaps they say, well, I waste a lot of time. I could say, well, I have some teaching on that. I have some time management teaching that I can use for that. And why don't we do that and see if that can help you take care of your problem or overcome this obstacle, let's say. Life coaching guides and equips the client to finding their own answers. Life coaching emphasizes action, learning, decision-making, and change. And where Life Catalyst fits in with all of this is Life Catalyst curriculum is the catalyst, the meaning of change, the springboard to bring change to the client. I want to say again, Life Catalyst curriculum is the catalyst to bring change to the client. I kind of think of a catalyst being a nurse. I think of it as medication. And a lot of times if, let's say you have pain and you take an aspirin, it'll cause changes within cells that will be a catalyst to change. And so it's the same way with life coaching. We teach something and it works within and it brings about change. This curriculum is used by the life coach to lead clients into self-discovery and self-improvement. Life coaching is the different link to change. Life coaching is a direct link to change. But for change to occur, the clients must have the 3 R's of change. This is what we're looking for in the evaluation. As we're with our client, we need to see these 3 R's. That is recognition, readiness, and relationship. The R's apply to most of life's developments and problems. The popular anonymous groups work with 12-step programs. Step 1 focuses on recognition. Recognition is a need. It is so important to recognize the need. We have to see that there's a need. And a person, again, doesn't know what they don't know. They may not even see that need in their life. And here again, that's where the evaluations with the life coach can help them see what they need. The client must recognize their need to achieve their goals and to make change. The recognition of need is the very first step, not only with the R's of change, but also with the 12 steps and many other teachings. You must see the need. It is up to the client to see this need. I can't see it for them. I may be able to hint toward it, maybe even give them something to read or something that would kind of parallel their situation, maybe that they could birth in their mind. But it's ultimately up to the client to meet the need, or to meet this level. They must see their need. And once that client recognizes their need for change, they must be ready to work on overcoming it. Change is not easy, and it can be difficult to endure. This, too, is dependent on the client. I can't do it for them. They have to do it themselves. We can motivate them. We can give them tools. But the bottom line is they have to do it themselves. Are they ready to undergo the difficulties of change, to work through obstacles and grow toward the goal? This is a journey to positive outcomes. It can be rough and it can be rocky, but they have to be ready. They have to recognize their need, and then they have to be ready to change. The third R is a healthy, meaningful relationship. Now, this is where the life coach can be a catalyst for change. Using the instructions, the exercises, the information found in the Life Catalyst program, the life coach guides the client to a systematic approach which will be active and effective. The divisions of the Catalyst program make the information, and they help find life skills that are at hand and that they can work with the client. They're the resource, so to say. These things in the Life Catalyst are really good resources to work with clients. The divisions, or rather the education from the Masters program, equips the life coach with skills and knowledge that the coach needs to help the client. And indirectly, it even helps the coach, because we grow most when we help others. And in conclusion, I've touched on the 10 topics from the Masters of Arts life coaching, consulting, and mentoring program. First, I spoke about the importance of thorough evaluations, the life map, and identifying obstacles. I've covered the representational systems, including the VAC system, and how to identify which system the client prefers. I spoke on the importance of building rapport and trust, the importance of belief along with their formation and the impact that they have on our lives. And lastly, I spoke of the Life Catalyst curriculum and its place in the life coaching process. Again, I'd like to thank Dr. Weiser and his team for the opportunity to take this course. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I've used portions of the education when volunteering at church with those with grief and depression. Our church is involved with the juvenile drug court, and we hold parental classes. And I know to a couple of us that have taken the course that we use things from this course to help these parents in crisis or denial or wherever they are in their season of grief. The information is invaluable in dealing with the children and the parents. As a church, we minister in domestic abuse shelters and in prison ministry. I find that I often find myself sitting in church by someone who would be from the shelter, the domestic shelter, or someone who's from the the release program, from the prison program, which is probably half a mile from our church. And building rapport and making trust an issue and lots of prayer has built so many good relationships within our church, and we have been able to help people. But what I have found is that if we want to have a strong, vibrant church, which at this point I'm not continuing my education for the workforce. I'm continuing education for help within the church, my true love, my church. But what I have found is that in cases before, we would have people come to our church that needed more than they were getting. And I didn't know, because you don't know what you don't know. I didn't realize that this type of education was available, that we can learn from and to help so many others with sometimes very basic things. You know, I'll use time management again. Time management for some people, low self-esteem. Oh, and the grief. There's so much grief and walks through our doors. And we pray for them, but if sometimes they need that personal contact with someone who is able to help them. And I think that it's a real blessing that God would even think of using our church and even me in this type of ministry. I find that using the communication techniques, the body language, and representational preference systems opens doors, and it breaks down barriers with all of our special visitors. We also have a ministry that involves children, that a couple of the young ladies of our church, their sisters, they go around and do community action type things and bring little busloads of children to Sunday school. And there's so many that don't know a thing about the Lord. and I've never been to church. And to be quite honest, that didn't have breakfast this morning. So, we meet the need. Whatever we need to do, we'll have snacks, we'll teach, we'll love, and they'll become our children, church children, and let them know that there is a place. And we've seen many of these kids give their lives to God. We've seen them baptized. I have personally had calls from some of the parents saying, "Can you go in and pray with this person at the hospital? I'm kind of convenient." And they'll say, "Well, you go in and pray with them," and they recognize me because I'm little Joey's teacher. And it's such a blessing. It's just such a blessing to be able to be, as Mother Teresa said, an instrument in the hand of God. It's just such a blessing. I'm so unworthy. Okay. On with my reading before I get a little too emotional. Perhaps this could be considered the gift of helps. Not really well defined in that list of gifts, but maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. One sentence in particular from the courses has made a profound impact on my spirit, and that was: the development of people is not a burden, it's a blessing. I recall this thought whenever I work with children, with grieving families, or whether I'm caring with my patients, or if I'm educating nurses. I try to keep that in the back of my mind, that it is, the development of people is not a burden. It is a blessing, and it is a blessing to be used. It truly is. Again, I want to thank you for your anointed program. And I know you will be blessed as your students serve and bless others. And one last thing, I'd like for you to give my best regards to Sister Weiser. I don't even know if she knows the impact that she makes on women's lives by just being around her. She has such a beautiful, beautiful spirit. And I feel a real warm place in my heart for her. And again, I would just like to thank you for all the time and devotion that you have given me as I have went through the program, and I have appreciated it so much. Definitely life-changing. Thank you.